Hey friends, we are back over here at Creation Station. We're going to be doing another dupe today. We are going to be doing the Acidified Cleansing Bar from Lume. You know, those commercials that you see constantly that will never go away, even though you tell YouTube you don't want to continue seeing them, those ads. But we're going to be making the cleansing bar today, and they claim in their Facebook group, they're the ones who said it, that their pH is between 4 and 5 on their cleansing bar. So we're going to try to achieve that today. I took their ingredient list in the order in which they had them listed on the back of the actual product, not online, because they mix things up online. Everybody does, so that people don't go ahead and dupe their formulas. But we're going to give it our best try today, and my best guess based on what I know of these ingredients. There is a couple of substitutions, but we'll just go with it. We're going to start off with water. It's not really all that much. And we're going to add quite a bit of glycerin to the mix. Of course, glycerin is the humectant, but in this particular product, it's going to make the dough and keep the dough a little bit more pliable for you. In my personal opinion, like after looking at all the ingredients, to me, it was like making a solid shampoo bar. And I make my solid shampoo bars the cold process way. I don't heat and melt my SCI powder or any of my powders for that matter. And then I just, you know, mush everything together into a big dough ball and pinch portions off from that and put it into a mold, and voila. I've got a couple of videos on the channel that you can reference as far as that's concerned. And ever since I started doing it that way, I will never go back to melting down my powders. It makes a harder bar that lasts longer when you do it the cold process way. All right, we've got our water in. We've got our glycerin. The next thing we're going to be adding is a liquid chelator, because that's what they have in their ingredients. So I'm going to be using tetrasodium glutamate diacetate as the chelator. Give that a little bit of a mix. Now there's a couple more powders that are going to be going into the water phase because they are water soluble, and according to their ingredient list, you know, we're going to use those ingredients to try to get as close as possible. Before we do, we're going to go ahead and just take our pH now and see what it's up to, and then we're going to start adding our citric acid little by little to try to achieve a 4 on the pH scale, which is quite acidic, as you know. I'm not going to use my scale because it's just too little of an amount. But let's just take a look and see what the pH is looking like right now. You have to do the pH now because all the rest of the ingredients, well, the majority of the rest of the ingredients, you know, they're oil-based. And so you want to go ahead and get the pH straight right now. And it is reading quite high. Look at that purple. I'm going to say it's at least a 7, if not above. It's at least 7. It's probably more than that. I'm going to say this is reading around 8 on the pH. So we're going to go ahead and add quite a bit of our citric acid because we need to get that down to a reasonable level because we are, after all, making an acidic cleansing bar. So let's go ahead and add some citric acid. I know this seems like a lot. But again, we're trying to really get down there to make this an acidic environment. All right, let's give it another test. quite a bit of difference. And as you can see, we are at 4. So let's look at the differences. We're at 4 right now, and we were at 8. Because we're going to be adding a lot of these other ingredients, especially the SCI, that has quite a high pH, it is going to come back up some. But I'm satisfied right now that the pH is what I need it to be able to continue. So let's go ahead and continue. The next on their ingredient list is going to be mandelic acid. And they are using this because it's really good with deodorizing, which is why they're adding it in to the mix. We're not adding it in a very large quantity because we're not trying to get brightening and exfoliating properties out of the mandelic acid. We just want to use this particular ingredient for the deodorizing properties. Okay, the very next ingredient that they have on their ingredient list is called galacto arabinan, and this is used to prevent transepidermal water loss. So it's also really hydrating, and it works really well with AHAs. Also, with the mandelic acid that we just added, that works best in a pH of 3 to 4 and remains stable at a pH of 3 to 4. So it's a good thing that we're making a product that we're trying to be in an acidic environment, because that's what most acids like, the acidic environment. So that's the galacto arabinan, or however you say that. This is going to take a little bit of patience to get this all worked in here and dissolved properly. So just keep at it until you get everything combined well. All right, that's mixed in pretty well. There's a couple little floaters up on the top, but there's no clumps of powder sitting down on the bottom of the vessel. So we're good to go with putting in our other ingredients, which is going to be our Germel Plus. We have to put that in now. That is our preservative. Because remember, later on, we're just going to have a big powder ball dough, or dough ball rather, that we're going to be working with. We're not going to be able to incorporate a liquid after we get to that point. Now, they did not, I have to say this, they did not add a preservative. At least it's not in their ingredient list. There's water in here. I'm adding it. All right, we've got that preservative in here. Next, we're going to be adding our fragrance oil in here. I chose Tangerine, their most popular scent of their acidified cleansing bar is the Clean Tangerine. So I am going to be going with Tangerine as well. Okay, I'm going to set the water phase aside. I'm going to go and melt down the shea butter and the cocoa butter, because those are the oils that they used. So let's put that aside. Got cocoa butter, shea butter. Let me go and melt those down. I'll be right back. Okay, our butters are all melted down. We're going to start off with our coconut oil. To that, we are going to be adding our shea butter. All right, to that, we're going to be adding some zinc oxide because they have that in their formula. This is just going to make the bar white. We're not trying to make any type of a sunscreen. This is a cleansing bar. It's like a soap. It's a detergent bar. Just mix that in real well. Zinc oxide is oil soluble. That's why we're adding it here. Now the next two ingredients we're going to be adding are the substitutions, like I talked about in the beginning of the video. So I could not find polyglycerol 4 laurate here in the States. They do have it over there in the UK at several different places, and I will link those down below. However, I did my research, as I always do, and came up with 2 different alternatives and substitutes, which are going to work just fine to replace that polyglycerol 4 laurate. And the first one is going to be the polyglycerol 3 oleate. So we're going to go ahead and put that in there. It's very viscous. Give that a little stir. So the main difference between this particular ingredient, the polyglycerol 3 oleate and the polyglycerol 4 laurate is in the fatty acids that are attached to the polyglycerin. That's the only difference. So the one that I'm using today, it's going to be the oleic, and then the laurate is from lauric. That's the only difference, really. With the polyglycerol 3 oleate that I am using today, it's a little bit of a lighter feel than the polyglycerol 4 laurate. All right, now to that mixture, I'm going to also be adding isoamyl laurate. So those two ingredients are what I am using as a substitute for the polyglycerol 4 laurate. These two ingredients. And so the isoamyl laurate is lighter and more fluid. It's also less oily than the polyglycerol 4 laurate. And then that's it for your oil section. We've got your water phase, we've got your oil phase. We do have one more powdered ingredient to add, and we're going to put that right into the bowl of the SCI powder. All right, there's your oil phase. There's your water phase. Like I said, we're going to take this big bowl of pre-measured out sodium cocoyl isothianate powder, and we're going to add to that a hydrogenated vegetable oil. This in particular is Lipid Fix, so this is hydrogenated cottonseed oil, because they do have that on their ingredient list. I think I got this from Lotion Crafter, if I'm not mistaken. All right. Let's give this a light little mix. You should have your mask on. I do not right now, but you should. Just go real slow. Try not to waft those powders up. You will start choking and gagging. Doesn't take much. See, even that much is too much. All right. To this mix, we are going to add our water portion. Just go real slow, you guys, if you don't have a mask on, but really, just wear a mask. Mine is literally right behind me. Matter of fact, let me grab it. Okay, mask going on. All right, let's go ahead and get our oil portion in here as well. We need that other liquid. From this point on, it's just a matter of getting this into like a crumbly state, like if you were making pie dough. And from there, you're going to start getting in here with your hands until you form a dough ball that can be pressed into a mold. I am going to get in here with my hands at this point. This part takes quite some time, you guys. You're going to have to be patient because we want to work this into a dough ball. Oh my goodness, you guys, let me tell you, that was a workout and a half. I actually had to switch it to a bigger bowl, but you want to knead this until it comes into a ball like this. All right, and then you can just pinch pieces off. In fact, I'm going to pinch a little piece off of this and just stick it in that bowl just to do a pH test on the big ball itself so we can see the differences. So you got to kind of, I don't know, this is going to take a long time. Like it took me a good 15 minutes to get all of these into little balls, right? So then you just want to find a mold that you're comfortable with and smush it down in there Now I know this looks like this is going to be like all bulged out and everything, but I can easily put it back into place. I just want to make sure that I get enough down in there. See how some of this is still just ever so slightly a little bit more crumbly. You don't want that. You really want to make sure that you mix it good. Knead that into a ball. All right, let's squeeze you in, make you look a little bit better. And we're just going to leave these in the mold for at least overnight, at least one day. And then we'll check them and see if it needs possibly more than one day. Try to get the top as smooth as you can. All right, I finally got these in the mold, and I put a little bit of water into this small beaker and put those crumbles that you saw me set aside. I put those in and smushed them as best that I could and mix this all together. I'm just curious to see what the pH is now. We got it down to the pH that we wanted while we were making it, but let's take a look and see what it is now. Now that the entire process is finished. Oh, very good. There we go. We are at a 4 pH, you guys, which is what we were aiming for 2 reasons. Because Lume says that their acidified cleansing bar is between a 4 and a 5, but also because the mandelic acid in there works best and is most stable at a pH of 4. So we are right on with that. Let's just check on the pH meter though, because it's more accurate. I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit more. All right, we are at a 4.75. Can you guys see that? So it is a little bit more than the strips because these are more accurate, but I'm still happy with that. If Lume says they're between a 4 and a 5 and we are coming in at 4.75, I'm happy with that. That's great. So what we're going to do though, actually I'm going to leave that there. I want to take a picture of this. What we're going to do though is we're going to leave these at least overnight, if not for a couple of days, because these are really thick and I want these to harden up real well. So then we'll come back. I'll show you what they look like when we get them out of the mold, okay? Okay, it is the next day and I actually went ahead and unmolded these already. They're getting quite hard, but I am going to leave them out to air dry even more. Okay, they're, like I said, very hard already, but I am going to leave those out probably for the rest of the weekend. Today is Thursday. I'm going to leave them sit until Monday just to continue hardening. So it dawned on me also that you guys don't have to use like silicone molds. There's no reason why you can't use a 3D pressed mold like I have with my shampoo bars on the channel. I will link one of those down below. But put some saran wrap inside of your 3D printed bath bomb molds. Stick your mix in there and put the saran wrap on the top and use the plunger piece to push down in and push it all the way through. There's no reason why you can't do that. I just decided to use a silicone mold, just, you know, I don't know why really. Use whatever you'd like, whatever works for you guys, but quite hard. I'm really enjoying this. I'm going to enjoy using this little piece at home, and I will report back at some future video and let you guys know what I think about this. But if you enjoyed the experiment that we did today, please consider subscribing if you haven't, like if you do, share this with anybody that you think could benefit from this. And before we say goodbye today,